Play Lush Vibes playlist on Spotify.
Lush Vibes on Spotify.
Hi. Hi. Oh. I don't know why I'm here. Why am I here? Why am I here? Hey, what's happening? I don't know about that, but thank you. I don't know about all that, but thank you. I'm just here to put my 2 cents in, even though my 2 cents don't matter and it's only 2 cents. I'm just waiting for Donald Trump to get arrested today. I'm waiting for that. Pennies add up, I guess they do. So what are you guys up to today? I'm gonna be your background buddy. Well, I mean, you can type. Well, the thing is that like, that's the whole thing about like having a godparent. You know, like your godparent should be responsible for helping you learn and helping you study. Like I don't speak Haitian Creole, so I have to follow along with my mambo. And for the most part, you know, I like to dance. I'm a dancer. So I just play the music on YouTube and I dance. But as far as like the actual individual songs, that's a collection of a lot of songs. And they are available on YouTube, some of them. You have to type in the very beginning of that book. The author talks about several different singers. Type in their names online. He has to surrender. It's the law. What do you mean, will it happen? What do you mean, will it happen? It's the fucking law. He has to show up or they're gonna arrest him. That's how it works. He's not above the law. No one's above the law. He can only show his ass to the American country for so long. Nobody is above the law. It's the beginning of the book is really awesome because he gives a very nice explanation of the worldview. And the back of the book is golden because he has a list of all of the known Loa that he could get a hold of. The man did a lot of work. The man did a lot of work. And here's the thing, Wild Ash Banshee. If you need to talk to a Mambo, I have my Mambo for you. You can get a reading from my Mambo. Trump is not president. Don't be stupid. The man hasn't been president since he was elected out of office. Period. Don't live in a fantasy world. Get out of conspiracy world. The world has not gone insane. He might have gone insane and TikTok might have gone insane, but the rest of the world is not insane. Get off this app. Thanks, user 809-822-9314403. Hey, Robert. I just woke up. Like, literally, I woke up and I had no sugar, and I had to go to the grocery store and buy some sugar. Contact me. Go to my Booksy and grab my phone number and then text me. I don't know where you're located, but I can, I can give you her contact information and follow that rabbit hole. Follow that rabbit hole. Right now, I'm just chilling. I should do readings because I'm broke. But right now, my brain is fried and I'm not in the mode to do readings. When I did readings yesterday, and then I was live last night in my mentee group. And after I do an pull an all day spiritual thing, I just can't function the next day. You gonna do the cacao? Yeah, of course. You can pay me you can pay me through Venmo. Just text me. Go to if you still have my number, text me. Well, my phone number I think changed. Go to my Booksy and text me. And just say, "Hey, yo, it's me." What's up, user 54559440944463? Stem cell production. Wow. I wouldn't doubt it. Holly. I'm sorry, I'm not good at remembering people's names. We need more dance videos. Yes. Yes, I stopped dancing. I need to make dance videos. Ashe, 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 oh. Alafia. I was just in Uncle Brandon's room. I was listening to him talk about all the things. And a lot of the things that he said were pretty common conceptions about, like, Orisha tradition, and I think the problem is that the tradition of Orisha has been kept there have been people that have kept such a tight lock on the religion that most people, normal people walking down the street, don't understand it. And that's a shame. But it's their own fault. It's their own fault. The truth of the matter is that African American people have a direct cultural heritage and connection with their ancestral divinities that cannot be gate kept. But on the same time, the religion of Lukumi and, the Ifa that was brought to the Caribbean is the only information that Black Americans have had to access in order to learn anything about Orishas, right? Because Orishas didn't make it, Orisha tradition didn't make it in the United States. Hold on a second. In the diaspora, the traditions, new world manifestations of African spirituality were different in the United States opposed to how they were in the Caribbean. They're just different. They're practiced differently. And people don't understand the differences, which creates this confusion in the dialogue about how the tradition is practiced. Does that make sense? Hi. I got your text, Lisa. So, I know I'm this white presenting male that nobody wants to listen to, but there's a big gap that needs to be bridged between the traditions that existed in the Caribbean and the traditions that have been born in the United States. I've said this before. Because even though, do you know what I'm saying? I don't understand what that means. Get the fuck out of here. I don't have time for this. You with a covered face. Just come in here talking nonsense. So anyway, I'm here to talk about it, but nobody wants to hear me talk anyway, so... I'm here for anybody that wants to hear me talk. Hey. Hi. Hey, Dolan. And Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Where's my girl at? Exo, Medusa, Omo Oshun, and Olokun. That's wonderful. That's beautiful. What kind of insight do you want, love? User 9193603678177. What do you want me to elaborate on? What do you want me to talk about? Because I'm here to talk today. Seriously. I'm not here to get into fights with anyone. Or argue with people. I'm just here to provide information. I'm not attacking anyone. I'm not attacking anyone at all. I'm not attacking anyone's way of doing anything. If you watch my videos and you pay attention to my content, you would know that. Well, you can't be afraid of your dreams. Like people who have this reoccurring nightmare where they're being chased or some other situation where they're being approached or they feel threatened in their dreams, like you have to, in your waking consciousness, you have to reinforce to yourself that when you dream, you're going to confront whatever that fear is or whatever it is that's there. You can't run away from the shadow self that lurks around in the subconscious. You have to address it directly. About the differences in the practices in the Caribbean, okay, I'll tell you about them. The first thing is the Africans that were brought to the United States, especially on the East Coast and in the middle of the country. I'm talking about Mississippi, Louisiana, and the Bible Belt, okay? These people, unfortunately, found themselves in the grips of Protestant Christianity. I'm talking about non-Catholic. Okay, America was not a Catholic country like the colonization that happened in Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. When Christopher Columbus showed up in the New World, the first people he came into contact with were the Native American people, the Taínos, and he came into contact with them in what is now the Dominican Republic. And the first colonizers that came over to the New World came in through the Caribbean, and they brought their Catholicism. Okay, so there's a big difference already there. There's a huge gap now already in the environment in which these ancestors found themselves. Does that make sense? So, like Hoodoo and conjure and the development of the black church in the United States took a very, very different spiritual route than people that maintained Orisha and Voodoo amongst the Catholic practices in the Caribbean. So they're two separate practices. They're practiced differently. Now, what I'm a part of and what I've been initiated into is the Caribbean current of spirituality. The people in another racially and ethnically, let's put it this way, racially and ethnically, the first Europeans that came over to colonize the New World, all those men, they put Taino men into slavery, and they took all of the women for themselves. Women and girls. They took all the women and girls for themselves. So the first mothers, okay, were indigenous women. So there was mixing between the indigenous people and the Europeans in the very beginning of colonization in the Caribbean, which is why if you're Puerto Rican, if you're Cuban, if you're Dominican and Haitian, there's still a lot of indigenous DNA that still exists because those people didn't go extinct, okay? There was forced integration. And then when African slaves were brought to the Caribbean and they started mixing, this is how you get the admixture of indigenous, African, and European heritage that Hispanic and Latino people have, which is the same thing in South America, in Brazil. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that those Africans that were brought to the United States, they didn't or could not maintain the Orisha tradition. For whatever reasons. God knows. God knows for whatever reasons. It most likely, I'll tell you what, Catholicism was a very easy way for African slaves to veil their spiritual practices behind Catholicism. Very, very easy to syncretize African deities and divinities with Catholic saints, because Catholicism is just a clusterfuck anyway. Do you see what I'm saying? So it was a much easier cover. Hey, plants, mama. But the thing is that there's a lot of hostility between African American people that practice root work, conjure, hoodoo, and other African American spirituality, and people that practice Orisha and Haitian voodoo. You see that friction, right? When you see Tammy the Voodoo Queen telling everybody, fuck that Haitian stuff, which is really rude and not cool. Forget all of that. You can't forget all of that. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can't just disregard how the ancestors maintained the traditions under slavery. That's why there's certain parts of the practice that you even if you don't appreciate or even if you don't like, are still part of the practices because it's the way it was practiced. It's the way that these people maintain the tradition. Like the Catholic elements in Santeria are the Catholic elements that appear in Haitian Voodoo. Because everybody needs to remember that these people were not only Voodooists, they were also Catholics. They went to Catholic church on Sunday. And then they went home and then they practiced ancestor veneration and their traditional religious magic. Songs. It's an oral tradition. These are oral traditions that are passed down from godparents to godchildren. And it has been that way for hundreds of years. So you can't just disregard the oral tradition because it's how it is. See what I'm saying? So it's really easy to criticize it, but then another thing is that the Ifa Orisha religion is based on a system of divination. It's based on an actual system of magic. It's not just let's make things up as we go. It's a codified system of divination that someone learns. You study this, you practice this over years and years and years of study. Plants, Mama, I've said this once, I'll say this a million times. When it comes to voodoo, when it comes to Santeria, Ifa, Orisha, it does not matter if you're as white as a slice of bread with mayonnaise smeared all over it. They're religions. You get initiated into these religions. You learn these religions, and you learn how to practice these religions. It is not closed by ethnicity. That's the other problem that we run into, because a lot of African American people don't understand that. So when they see someone like that looks like me, that's practicing diasporic practices like Haitian Voodoo or Palo Mayombe or Lukumi, there's this automatic knee-jerk response of anger. How dare you practice these things when you're white? And it comes from a misunderstanding about how the religion is practiced. You don't understand the difference between hoodoo and voodoo, and I can explain that to you. If anyone wants to know the difference between hoodoo and voodoo, I will explain it to you. Go ahead, Thu. I will explain the differences between hoodoo and voodoo and why they're different and why hoodoo is closed by ethnicity and why voodoo is not. Okay, pay attention, write this down. So if anybody asks you, you'll know. Let me collect my thoughts and figure out where I want to start. So, like I said before, I've learned to, okay? I used to be angry, but I'm not. I used to get like really fired up, like, how dare you talk to me like this? But I understand where the anger comes from, and that's why I don't get upset. I understand the anger. I understand it's misdirected at me, but I understand why they're angry. Well, thank you, Thu. I appreciate that. So let's talk about the difference between voodoo and hoodoo, okay? For one thing, what everybody needs to recognize, what everybody needs to recognize is that all of these practices, voodoo, 21 divisions, Palo Mayombe, Monte, Briumba, Obeya, Ifa, Lukumi, Isheshe, Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo, Root Work, Conjure. These are African practices. they come from Africa. They don't come from anywhere else. Hoodoo does not come from Ireland. It does not come from white people at all. Hoodoo is African American slave magic. The Africans that were brought to the New World in the United States, in the southern parts of the United States, we're talking about Southern Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, and all through the Bible Belt. That system of herbalism, because root work is being an herbalist, it's herbalism. Root work is herbalism. It's magical and medicinal herbalism. It was the way those African slaves survived. It was their medicine. It kept them alive. It kept them alive. And when you practice hoodoo, you are working with ancestors. And you're working with ancestors of your lineage that lived through slavery. So if you're white, you do not practice hoodoo. Hoodoo is not for you. Hoodoo is an African American practice that is closed by ethnicity, period. I don't care what Uncle Birch says. I don't care what Catherine Yonderwood says. I don't care about any of these white people that say hoodoo is an open practice. It's not. And if you don't like what I said, you don't like what I said. You can just scroll on and continue to go find somebody that's going to rub you on the butthole and tell you that you're, no, you're good. You can do that, okay? So now let me break it down for everybody in the back who doesn't understand, okay, this concept. Hoodoo is a set of ancestral practices. Alafia Shola. Hoodoo is African American practice. It's a practice. That's something that's learned, that your grandmama teaches a granddaughter, or a mother teaches her son or daughter, or a father teaches his son, okay? It's an ancestral practice, and it's practiced a very specific way, because when you watch a hoodooist, an African American person who's practicing root work and conjure and hoodoo, they are using a specific recipe or method or technique to work the root. One of my best friends on the planet is Mama Sunfire, okay? Mama Sunfire is one of my favorite people on the planet, and I love her, and she's like my best friend, okay? And we have these very honest conversations about race and ethnicity and practices all the time. So what you will find is that when you look at the practices of Palo Mayombe, of Lukumi, which is also known as Santeria, and you look at the practices in Voodoo, Haitian Voodoo, the way they practice their magic, the method in which they practice their magic, the method in which they call spirits, is through what? Song, dance, prayer. And you will see people practicing hoodoo that do the same thing, and they will be using gospel music, right? Because the black church in the southern part of the United States was a place where these people could get together and maintain some kind of identity. Maintain an identity, what it meant to be African. And that's the solidarity of the church. Okay? It's a whole thing. It's a whole lifestyle and practice and tradition. And it's based in Protestant Christianity and African spirituality. Boom, that's it. What's the difference between that and voodoo? Voodoo is a religion. It has divinities. It has deities that are served, called, that come into possession or mount their followers, okay? You will not find Dambala, Izili Danto, Anaisa Pae, Beli Belkan, okay? Agaru. You will not find a pantheon of divinities that come from Africa in the United States. in African American root work. There's a shadow of Eshu. There's a shadow of Elegua. There is a shadow of Papa Legba that's still present in African American practices, the man at the crossroads. But as far as a full pantheon of having Loa or Inkisi or Orisha, that did not make it to the United States. That's something that sat in the bowl of the Caribbean until the 1940s and 50s, when Cubans and Puerto Ricans started migrating to Brooklyn and started migrating to different places around the country, Hawaii even, and taking their practices with them, okay? Santa Muerte is a Mexican divinity, okay? She comes from a particular pantheon. Okay, that is a Mesoamerican divinity, a goddess, okay? That's who Santa Muerte is. She is an entity that is part of a particular pantheon in the Mayan and Aztec cultures. Mexican folk magic, any kind of folk magic that's directly tied to a particular group of ethnic people is closed. And the problem is, and I'll say it because I say it to people's faces all the time, white people, keep yourself out of closed practices that are not initiation religions. So let me get back to the point about why you see my big fucking white face on TikTok doing the things that I do. It's because I'm a member of religions. So what is the Ifa Orisha religion? What is the Voodoo religion? What is the Palo Mayombe, like, religion and practice? These are traditions that are religions. You learn them, you study them, you get godparents, you join a collective, you join a community, you become a member of a house. You get godparents that want to teach you, that you want to learn about these things. And if it comes out in divination that you're meant to be a member of these religions, then you'll be initiated into them. It's an initiatic process. And here's the difference between Hoodoo and Voodoo, okay, and Ifa and Orisha. This is based on a system of divination. The cowrie shell, the delagoon, the divining chain, the opuele that Babalaos and Ianifas use, the akin, which is the kola nuts that are used in the Ifa divination system. It's a system of divination that has stories attached to it, sacrifices attached to it, orishas that are connected to different parts of the divination system that are stories. Do you see? That might be your opinion, Shola, and I understand that. But that's not how I have every single Haitian voodoo house I have ever gone to, that I've been a part of, has people of all ethnicities that are a part of it. I think it depends on the mambo. I think it depends on the lineage. The Osogwe lineage, which is a southern branch of voodoo, which is really only about 100 years old, has been very accepting of all people. I am scratched in Palo. But that's whether or not white people should or should not practice this stuff is, I think, a matter of each individual priest or priestess, because it's up to each individual priest or priestess about how they want to practice their tradition. I hear you about, you mean the Peruvian? I don't know anything about Mesoamerica. It's based on the house. It's like Naya. Naya is an Ian Ifa serving the African American community. It's just funny that she ended up with like a bunch of white boys that wanted to have her as a godmother, wanted to get direction, wanted to get divination. I went to Naya because I I did not want to get crowned in Lukumi. And I was interested to find out whether or not Naya would be open to making my orishas for me and initiating me. And that's how I ended up in her program. That's how I ended up in her house. That's how I ended up going through initiation. It was divined upon. Before I went to her, I went to my Arunmila shrine. I already received my hand in Ifa in Cuban. So I went to Arunmila and I went to my Eshu and I asked them specifically, if this is the woman that is going to be my mother and you're going to guide me to her and she's going to initiate me, please let me know, and, you know, whatever. And that's how that happened. Hold on a second, people. Another thing is you're asking me a lot of questions, and these traditions are all practiced differently, so I have to switch modes when you ask me questions. Hold on, let me go back. I got to answer P's question. Because P asked me, why do I feel close? Because I have African ancestors. I have indigenous ancestors. And I have colonizer ancestors. And everybody, and all the other Europeans that were not colonizers that came to the Caribbean. I am a Latino person. I'm Hispanic. I have ancestry in this. And the reason why I came to these practices was because of ancestor veneration. I started with ancestors. I started with spiritualism. I started with spiritism, with the white table, with the Bovida, getting my spiritual court taken care of, getting my Egun and myself aligned, which was the segue into me becoming a member of these religions, okay? Because that's how we do it in Puerto Rico. That's how we do it in Cuba. Do you understand? So I have an ancestral connection to this. Even though I'm white, I still have a connection to, and that's what it comes down to. What it comes down to is the spirits make these choices, not people. So what people don't understand about the traditions of Lukumi, Cuban Ifa, Isheshe, Voodoo, these things are divined upon. They're not just willy-nilly. That's why you have to find a priest or a priestess, because you go to a Mambo, you go to a Ungan, you go to Babalao, you go to Ianifa, okay? And you sit on the mat and they do divination over you. There's some ceremony that's performed to find out whether or not this is there's alignment between your Ori and the tradition. If there's alignment there, then the recommendation is going to be you need to get your Lave Tet. You need to be connected with your Met Tet. And that's the ceremony of the Lave Tet, which is pretty much what most people will go through. They'll get their Lave Tet. That's the first thing you get in Haitian Voodoo. It's the first thing you get if you go through the 21 divisions. You get your Lave Tet, which is going to connect you with your Loa, and it's going to connect you with the people that you're supposed to work with. But nothing is done without divination. And that's the difference between Hoodoo and root work and conjure and these other traditions. They're very, very heavily based on divination. Any serious question about anything that needs to be done in a community is always divined upon by whoever is the priestess that owns the house. And every priest and priestess can run their house however they want. If you don't like what I just said, you don't like what I just said. Every priest and priestess that's a fully initiated priest or priestess in these traditions, when they have their own house, they can do things the way they see fit. Other people would disagree with that. And it's why you see these people, these Lukumi people, and these other people on here, the Palo, like the Tata Sarabanda going back and forth with the, whatever her name is, the racist person. What you see is this fighting about, well, Arunmila has to be in a wooden container. No, Arunmila has to be in a white container. No, there has to, if you don't get a rock, you know, in your, in one of your vessels, then it's not right. It's all of these things that are based on individual practices, because if you go to Africa, what you will realize is that there's lots of temples and everybody is doing their own thing. And they might come together, to work with one another, but these traditions are different there. They're not all the same. This is not like Catholicism. This is not like Orthodox Christianity. There is not a pope, okay, that sits on the Ifa Council that makes a decision about what is and what is not Ifa and how it can and cannot be practiced. There is no Bible. There is no Bible in Ifa that says this is allowed, this is not allowed. If you're interested in these traditions at all, the first thing you need to do is get a reading, period. The first thing you need to do is get a reading, and you'll find very, very quickly whether or not you belong there or you don't, whether or not you should be there or not. But before you get a reading from any priest or priestess, what you need to do is you need to follow them on TikTok, you need to follow them on YouTube, you need to follow them. Oh yeah, I have a mambo, my mambo in Haitian Voodoo who initiated me. I have my Ianifa, my priestess. I'm in her Ile in the Orisha tradition. I have 2 priestesses, one in Voodoo and one in Orisha. And if you want to get a reading from both, yes, you can contact me off this app. Or actually, to be honest with you, you can go follow my Ianifa right here. How do I do this? Is it Naya? Did you see what Crystal wrote? What? Go follow Naya Shalom, okay? That's the person you want to get a reading from in Ifa. It's a 90-minute reading and it's $150. And if you have any desire at all to learn about this or find out whether or not this is something for you, you have to go to a priest or a priestess. Because like I said before, all of these things are done through divination by someone who's trained. These aren't traditions that are just intuitively based. It's a system. If you understand what I mean. I hope I've illuminated you guys a little bit about the differences between hoodoo and root work and conjure and voodoo and Ifa and Orisha so that you understand a little bit different about the practices. I think they're stronger practitioners. And I'm going to tell you why. You can get crowned in Lukumi and not know jack shit about the religion. Because it's become common that people are pushed into initiatic processes without any training. Then they get initiated in this stuff and their godparents kick them out of their house or they get into a fight with somebody and then they're left on their own and all they have is books to study. So just because you're a crowned, initiated person in any of these religions doesn't mean you know what you're doing. And it also doesn't mean that you're powerful enough to cast spells. Does that make sense? Hey, Rachel. Because like I said before, there are methods to this stuff. It's like baking a cake. Let me put it this way. When it comes to magic, it's like baking a cake. You can't take flour and decide, well, I'm going to use a couple of eggs. I'm going to use a little bit of milk, and I'm going to throw some baking powder in there. I'm going to put some chocolate chips, and I'm going to stir it up. I'm going to throw it in this pan. I'm going to turn the oven on. I'm going to put it on any temperature. And I'm going to put this concoction of what I think should be a cake into the oven. Leave it in there for any indiscriminate amount of time, and then take it out and expect to have a cake. If you don't know the recipe for the cake, if you don't know the temperature it needs to be cooked at, and you don't know how long it needs to be cooked, you're not going to get a cake. You're not going to get anything. And that's why people's magic doesn't work. because they think everything is based on intention, and it's not. It is not. It's not, and not everything is intention. Your intention guides the knife. But in order to practice witchcraft or root work or voodoo, and even Orisha, you have to have a knowledge or an understanding of nature. And you have to have a knowledge and understanding about how to call spirits. And you have to have a knowledge and understanding about how to work the medicine, how to make the medicine. That's why some people's medicine work and some people don't. And these are things you learn. These are things you study over time. I've been working with essential oils and herbs for years as a witch. You can't have depression. No, you can't be bipolar. How about this? You can't be a bipolar manic depressive person and be put on antidepressants. Why? Because antidepressants as a drug aggravates mania. Just like a psychiatrist sit and diagnoses a client with what drug they need to take for their behavioral and mental health, a spiritualist sits down and listens to someone's spiritual problems and makes a determination about what needs to be done on behalf of that person to cure their spiritual illness. We are spiritual doctors. That's why they were called root doctors and witch doctors and spiritualist. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's the same level of seriousness here. If someone comes to me and says, I think I've been cursed, I think I've been hexed, I think I've been jinxed, there's someone giving me the evil eye, I feel there's something in my home. As a spiritual doctor, I have to come up with a recipe of success to be able to get rid of that funk shit energy in their house and clean them off. That means I have to know how to make spiritual baths and soaps, and I need to do other cleansing work. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hey everybody, thank you for coming in. But so whenever you go to a traditional practitioner, like someone who practices Ifa or someone who practices voodoo, they're going to give you a reading to find out what's up with you. But there's always going to be a remedy. There's always going to be medicine. There's always something that's going to have to be done. It might be an ebo, that means sacrifice. Or it might be a bath. But only people who are trained in this stuff would understand what needs to be done. And that's part of becoming a priest, is understanding how, what is coming out in divination when you read it. No, I don't do money candles, but I'll tell you how to make a money bowl. I can teach you how to make a money bowl right now if you want to do your own money bowl and you want to start manifesting your own money. I can teach you how to practice a spell right now. We're just talking about the differences between the traditions. That's all. It's kind of like been my mission to discuss the differences between the traditions and try to be educational and make bridges for people so they understand the different practices. What I found is the biggest misnomer on this app is that people aren't educated enough to understand the differences between the practices, and that leads to a lot of confusion and it leads to a lot of fighting. You don't have to cash at me for me to tell you how to make a money bowl. This is how you make a money bowl. You want to get a green bowl, okay? You want to get a little shovel, and you want to go to a bank, okay? And when nobody's at the bank or nobody's looking, you want to get out and take a Ziploc bag and you want to dig up grass and dirt that comes out of the banking parking lot, okay? There's a correspondence that happens between wanting to attract money and where money goes, okay? Because we will go and we will get dirt. Paleros will get dirt from the graveyard, from the courthouse to the bank, okay? Because there has to be some kind of energetic or vibrational connection. So you go dig up some dirt and some grass and you throw it in a Ziploc bag and you go home and you put that, yes, I'm a palero, and you put that that dirt and that grass in that green bowl, and then you take some rice, and as you're saying your incantation or whatever your intention is for getting money, you put the rice in the bowl. You put 21 pennies in the bowl. You mix up the grass and the rice and the dirt and your 21 pennies in the bowl, okay, while you're closing your eyes and you're saying your prayers or singing your songs or whatever it is to draw you money, okay? You could sit there and sing Janis Joplin's Mercedes-Benz. Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? Okay, whatever it is that you do to get that energy raised, to call that kind of money, okay? Do you understand where I'm going with this? Then you can put some cinnamon on there. Salam alaikum alaikum salam. So you can put some cinnamon in there. Then you want to take some incense. You can get some sandalwood incense, okay? And you can put the incense inside the money bowl. Take a little green candle if you want to. You can get a 7-day candle, okay, like a Catholic candle, and you can put it right in there. Or you can just get a regular little green candle, a little taper candle, and plop it right in there, okay? You light that incense, you light that green candle, and you let that start to burn. And here's the final touch on it, okay? You take a dollar bill. You're going to take a dollar bill and a pair of scissors, and you're going to cut that dollar bill up. And as you cut that dollar bill up, the first thing you're going to say is, may this dollar bring me $1. And then you're going to cut it again, and you're going to say, may this dollar bring me $10. And then you're going to cut it again, and you're going to say, may this dollar bring me $100. Then you're going to cut it again. May this dollar bring me $1,000. Then you keep going. May this dollar bring me $10,000. May this dollar bring me $100,000 until you have cut the dollar up into slices and you put it on top. And that's how you make a money bowl. And you put it out where you're going to see it every day, in your kitchen before you go to work, or like on your dresser in your bedroom, so when you wake up in the morning and you see it. And every single time you see that money bowl, okay, and every single time you light a stick of incense and put it in that money bowl, you're manifesting and manifesting and manifesting and drawing and drawing and drawing. But then there's something else that you have to do with that money bowl. The other thing you need to do is you need to have a wealthy mindset. You need to have an abundant mindset. That means even if I only have 99 cents in my bank account, when I walk down the street, I'm going to walk down the street like a millionaire. I'm going to present myself as a wealthy person, because my wealth isn't just the money that's in my bank account. It's also my spiritual bank account. Thank you, Daphne Clark Hudson. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have a spiritual bank account, and you have a physical bank account. And you, walking down the street, should be walking down the street with a mentality of wealth. Don't have poor person mentality. Don't have victim mentality. Do you see what I'm saying? And if you've got this negative self-talk in your head that is continually telling you, I'm always going to be poor, I'm always going to be poor, I'm always going to be poor, you're always going to be poor. Ashe, thank you. No magic is more powerful than another. Wicca is not any less powerful than Santeria. Because if that witch is connected with their ancestors and they're connected with their divinities, it's about an individual's practitioner's ability to connect with their ancestors and the face of God that they're working with. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what your spiritual practice is. There isn't no, this magic is more powerful than anything else. And I'll tell you why. Because whether you guys know it or not, we're all pulling from the same source. Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you know that? That all magic comes from the same source? We use it differently, but we're all pulling from the same source. Okay, Elle, have a great day. We're all pulling from the same source, which is God. The practices are different because they're ethnically different, or because they're culturally different, or because their religions and their practice differently. But I guarantee you, someone that's practicing is a Catholic priest that's practicing Catholic magic, okay, exorcisms, mantras, turning wine into blood and bread into flesh, all of that, stuff. That's magic. What makes me powerful is my belief in God, because it's not me. When I practice magic, I'm channeling God energy. I need people to understand this. I'm working with God energy. I'm not working. If I was working by myself, relying on my own energy, I would fart out, poop, just like that. I wouldn't make it. So when I open up to practice magic, I'm opening myself up to source, because it's source energy. It's the divine energy. It's that divine light or divine darkness, okay? Either or. It's either divine light or divine darkness that's being pulled on in order to cast magic. If you believe in yourself, that's great. But if you really want to plug in to some powerful magic, then you need to plug yourself into the source of magic. Well, you need to work on those intrusive thoughts. Maybe you need a psychiatrist. Maybe you need a therapist. Maybe you need medication that's going to help calm that down. So you need to, if you have mental and behavioral health problems, you need to get help. Okay? Magic will only exacerbate mental and behavioral health problems, okay? If you're not balanced. People who are not balanced don't need to be practicing magic. And having medication for your mental and behavioral health problems is not going to make you less psychic. It's not going to make you less powerful of a witch. It's not going to make you less powerful of a magician. I take antipsychotic drugs, and I can still see and hear spirits. Do you understand? Because psychiatric and mental and behavioral health problems are separate from magical things. So you need to make sure that you're balanced. And if you're balanced emotionally, if you're regulated, if you're focused, if you have a clear mind, then magic will be very, very easy to do. We also have something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I need to tell everybody else this, okay? Here's the other thing. Hey Alexis, how you feeling? Are you feeling better? These people that get on TikTok and tell people to stop taking their medication make me want to scream, okay? That's beautiful, Alexis. Very happy about that. So what was I going to say? What was I just talking about? There's something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, okay? It's like a pyramid. There's methods to becoming a spiritual person and becoming a powerful witch or magician or Santero or Palero or whatever it is you want to call it, okay? And I'm going to explain to you what you need to accomplish in order to be what you want to become, to reach apotheosis or the best version of yourself. Maslow's hierarchy of needs says you cannot become the best version of yourself unless you go through certain stages first. You can't go from nothing to enlightened. You can't go from nothing to apotheosis. There is always a process. And for people walking around on the street in America, the first layer that has to be concrete is your life. You need to be able to wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, comb your hair, be able to buy gas for yourself, drive yourself to work. You need to have a roof over your head. Your material needs need to be taken care of. Your material needs need to be taken care of first. You're not going to be able to manifest anything or practice any kind of magic if you're a drug addict, if you're an alcoholic, if you're laying in a gutter somewhere, okay? If you're codependent, if you're depending on everybody else for stuff, if you have no home, if you're homeless. You're not reaching this up here if you don't have like stability in your life. So that's the first basis for being able to practice magic. The next level up from that is your relationship should be clean. I'll answer that, Content Noggin. I think enlightenment is a state of mind. Okay? Enlightenment is a state of mind. Alafia. Thanks, Rachel. So the next thing is your relationships have to be clean. That means if you're around toxic, negative people, you have to cut them out. You need to cut off your toxic mother or your toxic father, or you need to cut out your toxic friends, or your drunk friends, or like the people that are out of control that throw you off balance. You have to clean yourself and rid yourself of that negativity in your life. Because if you're around people that are constantly generating chaos in your life, bringing around chaos, you're not going to be able to achieve the things you want to achieve. 95% of the people that come to me for spiritual help have not eliminated the things out of their life that are the preventative blocks that keep them from moving forward spiritually. They either don't have stability in life, and because they lack stability financially and they lack stability and independence in life, they can never get ahead with anything spiritual because they're always dragged back by mundane things. Or their relationships are shit. They're in relationships with people that they don't need to be in relationships with. Or they haven't cut off toxic and narcissistic people in their life that prevent them from being able to grow. So most of the stuff you have to do in the beginning of your spirituality is literally the elimination diet. You need to eliminate the things that no longer serve you first before you do anything else. I've always been able to connect with spirit. I was born a medium. Yes, I work with fairies. Absolutely, I work with fairies. That's great, Abigail. So in Vodou tradition, the fairies are called the Aziza. The fairies are the Aziza. And the king of the fairies, or the leader of the Aziza, is Osine. Osine, which is a divinity in Orisha tradition. Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to go with a peaceful and humble attitude out into nature and spend more time in nature, okay? Because fairies live in nature, and you have to go out into nature to find them, to work with them, or to get them to work for you. Okay, they're spirits, just like spirits of the dead. They're all spirits. We live in a universe full of spirits, spirit consciousness. So fairies are a very particular kind of energy, and they're a very specific kind of consciousness, okay? And they function on a much more they're more simple. They can be appeased fairly easily, and they're not as dangerous as you think. I don't, did I read you before, Queen Zach? Because if I read you before, I have no idea. I'm not doing readings for you, and if you want a reading from me, you have to pay me. I don't do anything for free. Even if I could see your spirits, you would still have to pay me because I don't do anything for free, period. I get paid to do spiritual work. You can book a reading with me. So here's the other thing. Have a good one. I'll go to a real one. All right, go find somebody who really practices this stuff. Go find somebody who will do it for free, because I won't. Guarantee you that person's not going to find anybody that's going to be able to channel anything for free. Because they're assholes. Because they have no respect for other people. And if they don't have respect for practitioners, it means they have no respect for the spiritual world. Baby, why do you think I would remember anything about you, who you are or who your spirits are? I'm not Google, and I'm not trying to be rude. I'm saying as soon as I read somebody, I forget about you. Any of you that get a reading from me, as soon as the reading is over, I forget about you. Your name, your face, where you come from, who your spirits are, that goes out of my mind immediately. Because I don't have enough room in my cloud to store all of your personal information. And you are 100% correct, Oni Oshun, 100%. If you do spiritual work for free, you are incurring debts on that person towards you. That means if that person came to me and they wanted me to channel for them, and I channeled for them, and I gave them messages that improve the quality of their life, that motherfucker would have to come back at some point in time and pay me back. At some point in time in the future, that person would have to come back and pay me whether they liked it or not, because that's the law of karma. And if they didn't do it in this life, they would have to do it in the next life. Because karma is rollover, okay? It's like Motorola back in the day when you got unlimited minutes after 9 p.m. at night, right? So you told your friends, hey, call me after 9 p.m. because I got unlimited minutes. That's exactly how karma works. Karma rolls over from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. Just because you do all kinds of fuck shit in this life doesn't mean you're going to get everything that you put out in this life. That's not how the divine works. That's not how karma works. If you're not charging, you're a moron. You absolutely should be charging people money for work because you're doing a disservice to yourself and you're doing a disservice to everyone else. Why are you doing anything for free? Why? Why would you do anything for free? The spiritual world doesn't work for free. Every single time we go to do a ceremony, guess who has to eat first? Eshu has to eat first. There are divinities that have to be appeased first before you approach other divinities in my tradition. And nobody works for free, not even the spiritual world. So if you're working for free, well, you're just a doormat that everybody's going to walk right over. Well, then a lot of people owe you a lot of, you got a lot of people that owe you a lot. If you've been doing shit for free, you're going to have a lot of people always coming back to you. The same people that will bitch about doing things, people not doing things for free, are the same people that will get on Amazon and spend $100 on shit they don't need, or go to Victoria's Secret and spend $80 on a thong to go up their asshole. Same people that complain about spiritual workers charging for their work will drop their money on everything else. Everything else. So that's why I'm a sex worker. I've been in the sex work industry for 16 years. I'm a male for male sex worker, and I've been that for 16 years, and I still consider myself that. That being said, I have extremely motherfucking strong boundaries around what I will and will not do for money. If you want me to get naked, there's a price tag on that, okay? I don't do anything. I have a set amount for everything I do. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you feel me? So when I tell you, no, I'm not going to tell you anything about yourself unless you give me $20 and I give you a reading or you come to me, it's the same thing with everything else I do. Everything has a price tag on it, period, boom. And that is why I'm the way I am. That's why I'm the way I am. You guys wonder why I'm such a hard ass? That's why. Because you can't be in the industry that I've been in for 16 years and be a pushover. Or else, I could just roll down my window and put my ass out the window. I could just put my ass right out the window and let it hang right out the window for anybody who wants to come around and take it. I haven't been mistreated. Believe me, I have made all my money. All right, what's your question about fairies? What's your question about the fairies? So the thing is, Gabby, is that is really complicated, and I'm not going to go into that right now on live. Hey, Red, I can't go into all of that. Milk and honey is good. Shiny objects like mirrors, glitter. If you want to like get sweet cakes, or you want to make like, if if you get like a cupcake or something like that, sugar. They like sugar, they like honey, they like molasses, maple syrup. They like sweet things. A mimic spirit? You mean like a mocking spirit? The duendes. I don't know, because that's like a Mexican thing, and I don't... Let me explain something to you. Fairies exist all over the world in every single culture by different names. Okay, because the fairies were a race of people that walked the earth. They were physically embodied. Fairies are physically embodied people. They lived, they died. Their consciousness became melded with nature because they've been dead for so long, okay? There are consciousness that exist in nature, and there are spirits of the dead. Fairies are spirits of the dead. There are some fairies that are also nature spirits, but like when you're interacting with fairies that talk back, you're talking to spirits of the dead. A collective. So the thing about like mocking spirits is, if you have a spiritual practice, that will pretty much keep out mocking spirits. If you have connected with your ancestors and your spirit guides, and you have done warding on your home, or you've done spiritual cleaning on your home, you've said prayers, you've called in your spirits and stuff like that, there's no reason for you to be afraid that for some reason some evil entity is going to walk into your house. Okay, most people... that's not going to happen. You literally need to actively invite evil into your home in order for it to come in, if you're a spiritual person. If you're a spiritual person, you should not be experiencing these things in your home. If you're experiencing those negative things in your home, you're on the wrong path. You're practicing the wrong stuff, and you're definitely not doing magic and witchcraft properly. But see, I believe that there are I believe that there are entities in this multiverse that have good intentions, that wish to help people, and there are spirits of misfortune in this universe that actively are trying to harm people, okay? And I'll tell you some of the things that draw negative entities: drug use, alcoholism, abusive behavior, violence, because you're vibrating at a particular level, okay? When you're living like that, when you're living in squalor, you're inviting those dirty energies into your house. And in my tradition, we do a lot of spiritual purification. We do a lot of spiritual baths, spiritual soaps, colognes, floor washes. Someone prove me wrong. We do a lot of spiritual work to keep things clean. Like attracts like. You're correct, negative is not bad, but there are evil entities out there. There are. Sleep paralysis. I don't know. I had sleep paralysis. And I believe that it was spiritual in nature. When I had sleep paralysis, I believe that there was some kind of spiritual component to it. No, there's not such a thing as evil positive entities. What does that even mean? If the entity is evil, it's evil. It's not there to help you. You're not going to get an evil entity show up to do good things. It doesn't work that way. Why would you think the spiritual world works any differently than our world? Because if you believe as above, so below, as above, and you believe that we're walking, that our carbon-based bodies moving through a three-dimensional space walk parallel with four-dimensional space and spirits of the dead and gods and goddesses and divinities and orishas and Loa and all Inkisi and all these other spiritual entities, fairies, all these spiritual entities out there, why would you think these invisible realms of these invisible consciousness function any different than here? Why would you think that? Where's the logic in that? You can call on energy that is negative and you can manipulate it. In the afterlife, you die, you go back to your source, you are judged for the life that you have lived, and you're either going to have to come back here and reincarnate to do this again, or you're going to go to the realm of the ancestors, or you're going to go to some heaven, maybe a good heaven, or maybe some other place, maybe some place where you are in a holding pen for a while, depending on the quality of your life. You will be judged when you die. That's not a Christian concept. That's a pagan concept. When you die, you will be judged by God, and based on your life on earth, that's what's going to happen to you. Not everybody goes to the same place when they die. We don't all go to the same place when we die. There is such a thing as earthbound spirits. That means they are earthbound. They're not going anywhere. They're staying here until they have to reincarnate. An earthbound spirit is a spirit that is forced to stay grounded until it reincarnates and it has an opportunity to live again in order to correct its issues, to rectify its karma. Karma is rectified and played out here. This is why this is the marketplace. This is where all the action happens. Everybody that's incarnated has the ability to elevate themselves. If you do not elevate yourself, you're not going to pass go. You will not collect $200. I don't understand what you mean. When I die, will the witchcraft follow my spirit? I don't know what that means. Witchcraft is a practice. That doesn't make no sense to me. Hell exists. Absolutely hell exists. Purgatory exists. Absolutely. Yes, hell exists. It exists in all cultures. There's a difference between karma and intergenerational curses and traumas and intergenerational inheritance and behavioral patterns. There's a difference. Karma is the law of cause and effect. What you do, you get back. You do something positive will come back to you. You do something negative, that will come back to you eventually. You understand? So karma is literally, I do this, I get that. That has nothing to do with intergenerational stuff. That's a totally different ball of wax. I'm going to call TikTok the shadow work app. This is the shadow work app. This is where everybody goes to do their shadow work. This is a shadow work app. Okay? It needs to be renamed. It is not TikTok anymore. It's the place everyone who's lost on the spiritual path goes to work out their problems. All you have to do is scroll on this app for 5 minutes on Witch Talk and you'll see that. I'm not trying to be flippant in any kind of way. I'm saying when you see people acting like fools on this app, it's because they're working through their issues. What resonates with you, Amber? Hey, Summer. Skeletons flying out of the closet. Well, I'm glad that I got on this app, even if I got canceled, and even if a lot of people don't like me, I'm glad that I got on this app. It allowed me to be able to learn more about myself. It allowed me to recognize where I had character defects. It helped me recognize where I needed to go back and re-examine my intentions and my thoughts and my feelings, and to clarify exactly who I am. So this app, as much pain as it's caused me, it also did a lot of good things for me too. So I can't be mad about it. Oh yeah, the universe is talking to you all the time. Yeah, you can buy my book, Brujo. Hey Donnie, what's up, King? Let me get my book so that you guys can see my book. You want to buy my book? I talk a lot of shit on my lives. That's all I do on here is talk shit. Where's my book? Where'd my book go? I wrote a book, everybody. And I can't find it. And I can't find it. Is it over here? Oh well, I wrote a book. But let me let me tell you something. There's a book called Badass Ancestors. The first place everyone needs to start is with their ancestors, okay? So even though my book is a good book, thank you, Crystal. I recommend a book called Badass Ancestors, okay? That by Patty Wigington. You can buy my book on Amazon. But I'll tell you something even more that's even more important than all of that. All of you on the spiritual path, you absolutely should have had your birth chart done. Everyone on this app that's spiritual, you absolutely should have gotten your birth chart done. You should know your astrology. I do birth chart readings, FYI. I charge $65. That is cheap as hell to get your birth chart read, okay? So basically what you do is, you pay me $65. You give me your birthday, your date of birth, and your location of birth. I run your calculations, and then we look at your placements and we analyze them, okay? And the kind of astrology that I do is Eastern, okay? It's not tropical. It's based on where the planets actually are in the heavens. It's not seasonal astrology. It is astrologically correct or astronomically correct astrology. I base my charts off the galactic center, okay? The supermassive black hole that's at the center of this galaxy. That's how I calculate my charts. Hey, Gia. So what can your birth chart teach you about yourself? What can you find out about yourself if you get your astrological birth chart done? Well, the first thing it'll tell you about your past life and why you decided to incarnate. Yeah, there's a book called The Art and Science of Vedic Astrology. That's a great place to start. The Art and Science of Vedic Astrology by Ryan Kurzak. Getting your birth chart done will help you understand the reoccurring themes that are going to come up constantly in your life, okay? Depending on your soul planet. Everybody has a soul planet. Everybody has an Atma Karaka. It is the planet that represents the self, okay? Absolutely, Lunar. It's worth it. So when you find out what your Atma Karaka is, or you find out what your soul planet is, whatever sign and whatever house it lands in your birth chart, you can expect that there's going to be a reoccurring theme coming back over and over and over again in your life. And that is your Atma Karaka pulling you back to your destiny, pulling you back to your purpose. I'm here for you, Sin. I'm here for you. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help. So it's a combination of things that, in my opinion, and I also have a mentorship program, by the way. Yes, I am promoting myself. I never promote myself on this app. I have a mentorship program. My mentorship program is a Facebook group that I run that people pay me to be a member of. It's like a membership-based group. Every Wednesday night between 8 p.m. and midnight, I go live in my group in a room, and I sit and I just talk to everybody about whatever it is they want to talk about. Anything you're working on, ancestor, astrology, magic, whatever. I talk to people about that. And then also I put like homework assignments in there. I have PDFs, files to download to run your own birth chart. Okay, so that's very, very, very good for people who want to get some coaching. Like, I don't expect you to be my mentee forever. My job is to help you temporarily to be able to get your act together so that you develop a spiritual practice. Most people fail on the spiritual path because they don't have a spiritual practice, because they don't have a game plan. You need to have a game plan. Or at least you need to have a trajectory about what you want to accomplish. If you're just waking up in the morning and you're just doing this and that, or today I'm going to do a candle. Another thing that people don't understand is that astrology plays a very big role in magic. It always has, and people don't understand that. As an example, what day and what hour in which you cast a spell is going to change or affect the spell. If you're doing a love spell, or you're doing a self-love spell, well, you're going to want to do it on Venus's day, during Venus's hour. Okay, if you want to do a psychic working where you're trying to open up your psychic abilities, you need to do it on the moon day, during the moon's hour, okay? Because there are planetary hours, and every single day of the week is also associated with a planet, the 7 classical planets. So if you're going to practice magic and you're going to make it stronger, then you need to use those astrological energies. You need to pull in that astral light that is going to help boost the work. So if you want to do a love working to get somebody horned up about you, you don't want to do it on Saturn's day during the hour of Mars, because Saturn is a planet that is really not sexy, and Mars is a planet of war. It's not a planet of love. So like literally down to the hour and that you actually practice magic matters. But guess what? You wouldn't know that if you just scrolled on motherfucking TikTok and listened to these witch bitches talking about how to practice magic. You wouldn't know that because no one's talking about that. No one's talking about astrology and magic. These are things you learn when you come and you practice magic with me. Okay, these are my secrets. That's why you get a godparent. That's why you get a mentor that has a system of magic that they're practicing. Because I have no vested interest in you knowing how to practice magic correctly, unless you pay me to teach you how to practice magic correctly. Why would I give away all my secrets for free? That's the shit I use to fuck other people up. That's the magic I use to protect myself. And there's practices that I practice that I will not talk about on this app either. So, there you go. Go stir that in your cup of coffee. To me, there are 5 components to spirituality that need to be addressed if you're going to be an occultist. The first thing is astrology. Knowing your birth chart. Knowing the energies that are flowing through you. Knowing your karma. Knowing your destiny. Knowing what themes are going to reoccur in your life. Healing practices like Reiki, using essential oils, using herbs, meditation techniques, whether those are mantras or mudras or Zen or whatever Reiki meditations that you're going to use to advance yourself. And then you have ceremonial and ritual spell casting of magic. And the last one that I do is tarot and divination, because you need to know how to divine for yourself. What can witches do with the craziness going on in the world? You take care of your own motherfucking self. You worry about yourself. You worry about yourself, you take care of yourself. I don't give a fuck what anybody else does on this app. I also don't give a fuck what anybody else is doing on this planet. I'm worrying about myself. I'm trying to make my money. I'm trying to feed myself. I'm trying to keep gas in my car. I'm trying to pay my bills, and I will do that at all cost. So take care of yourself. Why are you worried about everybody else? Because this world is gonna end at some point in time. This whole thing is gonna end. So right now, what I recommend is stop, smell the roses, and go on vacation. It might be the last vacation you ever have, because right now we're like headed towards several major world crises, and something's gonna happen. We're either going to boil to death because it's going to get so hot here that it's going to be so hot that our water basically goes to a boiling point, or we're going to go into the next ice age, okay? Or AI is going to basically take over everything, or there's going to be another pandemic stronger than COVID that's going to come back that wipes everybody out, and then there's aliens. So there's like at least 5 things right there that can destroy us as a civilization, and we're on the brink of it. So I recommend, having a margarita. Fuck other people. Stop helping other people. Help yourself. How do you calculate reoccurring events in your chart? Your soul planet is a planet that holds the highest degrees in the sky at your birth. Okay, mine is Venus. My Venus is in Taurus. I'm lucky. But the reoccurring themes that are going to keep coming back up in your life is the theme of the house that your soul planet falls in. So let's say your soul planet is Mercury, and it falls in the house that has to do with accumulating resources, and you've got a bad placement. You might have a problem getting the resources you need your entire life trying to do what it is that you want. Or it might be that you have a bad placement and it's landing in a house that talks about family. You might deal with family issues your entire life. Yes, I'm a sidereal astrologer, Hindu astrology. Okay, I'm going to tell you how to learn astrology real quick. If anybody wants to start understanding astrology, I'm going to give you my advice about how you can start learning astrology. You have to calculate your birth chart to find out what your soul planet is. There are 12 houses, there are 12 planets, and there are 12 signs. And you need to think about the planets as people, as personalities, okay? The planets are the gods. The planets are the gods. They always have been. The planets are conscious entities. They're beings. They're divinities in of themselves. And every single sign of the zodiac is a different vibe, okay? Ruled by a different planet. And the way Venus behaves in Leo is not the same way Venus is going to behave in Taurus. Each one of these planets are going to behave differently depending on the sign it finds itself in. Do you understand? So the biggest hurdle that you need to get past is you need to understand the nature of the planets, the personality of the planet. Then you need to know, how is that planet going to behave when it enters into a different sign? The sun is not going to behave the same way in Capricorn than it does in Leo. That's how you start understanding how the energies work. And then you need to understand that some planets and don't like one another. So they'll go into planetary war with one another. Okay? Not Capricorn, Saturn rules Capricorn. Saturn, Venus, and Mercury are all buddies. The Sun, Jupiter, and Mars are buddies. And then there's Rahu and Ketu. And some planets are considered malefic or harmful, and some planets are considered to be benevolent. And if you understand the nature of the planets, then you'll start to see that it's about the relationship of all the planets. It's not just your big three. Fuck this big three thing. People come into Maya Live and they're like, what's your big three? Well, your sun, your moon sign, and your rising sign are only three minor components to your entire chart. If you're basing everything about your life off your big three, you're a moron. It means you don't understand astrology. You don't understand how the occult works. It takes all 12 planets, all 12 signs, and all 12 houses in your birth chart to tell you what your issues are. Not just three. That's a joke. You need to buy a book. I'm not going to repeat myself on any of this stuff. You can go buy a book. It's called The Art and Science of Vedic Astrology. I prefer you order from my website. Alexis. Hey, Artemis. But here's the thing. Each planet has got a positive and negative, or a light and a shadow side in every sign. So when I read someone's birth chart, what I try to do is I try to temper it so that you understand the light side and the dark side of every single one of your planetary placements in each sign. Does that make sense? Because you could have I'm trying to think of a very good analogy. Like I said, each planet has a personality, okay? And each planet is going to behave differently depending on its placement. As an example, you don't treat your parents the same way you treat your kids. And you don't treat your partner the same way you treat people at work. And you don't behave the same way on the street that you do at home. And you don't behave the same way at work as you do when you're grocery shopping. And you definitely behave differently when you're interacting with your friends and people you like, unless you're standing in a room full of people you don't like. And the planets behave exactly the same way. The planet is going to behave a certain way based on where it lands. And that is what you need to understand. Hey, Angel. That's what you need to understand. You need to understand that just like you don't present the same way in every circumstance, neither do the planets. When Venus is in Taurus, her own sign, or his own sign, because in Vedic astrology, Venus is a male, masculine energy. When Venus is in their own sign of Taurus, they're laid back, they're relaxed, they're lazy. They like to eat, they like to drink, and they enjoy wealth and luxury, okay? It's like, spread my legs and fan me, peel me a grape. That's the kind of attitude when Venus is in Taurus, okay? It's a real lazy, extravagant way of behaving. Now you take Venus and you put her in Leo. She gets all horned up. That fiery aspect that comes from Leo heats up that Venus, okay? Heats up that Venus. And when Venus gets hot, then she gets extremely temperamental. Then she can become jealous. Then she can become vengeful. Then she can become spiteful. Then she can have a thirst for erotic and sensual and sexual activities. So if you have like a fiery Venus, then you probably have, your sex drive might be more than other people. That's not necessarily true, Crystal. It's not just one planet and one sign that makes up your connection. Mexican, I meant to text you back and I did not text you back, and then I woke up late today and I still haven't texted you back. I saw the video you sent me. I can't wait to watch it. I love this author. I'm sorry you have COVID again. I think I had COVID again. I think I had it again. Like a couple of weeks ago. Oh, God. Yeah. I can't wait to watch it. I'm very interested in it. I'm very interested in Kimbanda. I mean, I'm never going to practice it, but I want to like understand it in relationship to like Palo and Santeria. I'm very excited. I'm very interested to know about it. I hear you, Dolan. You know what you need to be doing, Dolan? You need to be chewing on raw, fresh garlic and chewing on ginger, fresh ginger. It tastes horrible, but that's what you need to do. You need to get somebody to go to the store and bring you back several cloves of garlic, and you need to chew on it. You need to chew on it, and you need to chew on the fresh ginger, and you need to drink green tea, and you need to get some kefir in your body, okay? Kefir is probiotic yogurt drink. I love garlic too. I stink. I smell like garlic all the time because I eat garlic every single day. Fresh garlic or pickled garlic. I pickle my own garlic. So I've got pickled garlic, I've got fresh garlic, I've got fresh ginger. I'm all about it. I stink. I'm white. Ginger's too spicy for me. Get over it. Chop up a habanero pepper and sit and chew on it. You need the spice, okay? You need the spice, and you need to open up your lungs. You need to open up your chest. You need to open up those blood vessels, okay? I tell you what, you chew on that fresh garlic and you chew on that fresh ginger and you eat some jalapeno peppers or you chew on some of that, your erection will become rock hard, okay? Open up all those blood vessels, open up all those channels, open up those lungs, and you'll be like that, okay? Because there ain't nothing that helps get the blood flowing like some fresh garlic and ginger. Okay, makes all the blood vessels go bleh. Okay, I'm all about men's health. That's funny. That's hysterical. Which book? Which book are you interested in? You can ask me a question about astrology. It doesn't mean I have the answer for you. We're talking about the effects of garlic and ginger on the male member. Which book do you want, Vicky? Oh, okay, hold on. I'm going to have to take a bathroom break in a second, people. It's called The Art and Science of Vedic Astrology by Ryan Kurzak. R-Y-A-N, and I don't know how to spell his last name. It's Kurzak, something like that. I don't know. You guys, I need to take a bathroom break. I'll be back in a minute. Save your question about your astrology. Okay, I'm here. What is your question? Aw, thank you for the heart. Yeah, so in Vedic astrology and Hindu astrology, the male is not Mars, he's Jupiter. And when you're looking at placement, or you're looking at relationship related stuff, the male is, hold on, I gotta turn my coffee maker off. Jupiter, not Mars. Men are not from Mars and women are not from Venus. That's some sexist ass shit. Crystal, if you're asking me about your fucked up love life, I do not have any answers for you. Well, maybe you're not asking the right question. That's on you. That's a you problem. So you need to ask yourself, why did your relationship fail? Instead of looking to the stars, first ask yourself, what did you do wrong? What did he do wrong? Or maybe a better question is, why did you get up with the person in the first place? So you need to look to more mundane things first before looking in the stars. It's called mundane over magical. I don't really know that much about Asian stuff. No, seriously, Crystal, I'm not trying to be a bitch. I'm really not. I'm really not. I'm really, really not. I'm really, really not. But what I find is when people ask me questions like you just asked me, I have to remind them that there is like an everyday, regular world way of dealing with problems and not just a cult. Not unless you're so obsessed and the dick was so good and you want to know why it left, then maybe you start going to the occult. No, I'm super honest. That's why most people don't like me. Most of the time, I'm not trying to be rude. It just comes out pretty harsh. Oh, Jesus. You need to think about your relationships. Okay, good. I'm going to tell you why my relationships failed. I was an alcoholic for 30 years. I was a drunk. I was an alcoholic for 30 years. I drank. So all of my relationships failed because I got into bad relationships. Because I didn't have enough common sense or enough self-love, or I didn't value myself enough to prevent myself from walking into situations that I knew were going to be harmful for me. Because when you're a drunk, when you're an alcoholic, you tend to stumble into relationships and then you stumble out of them. And most of the time it's a mystery. It's like, how did I get here? I got into this relationship. How did I get here? The relationship ended. Why did it end? Okay, so when you're drunk and using drugs, no relationships ever work for you. Let me tell you something. If you're in a relationship with someone and you're sick, and you spend a significant amount of time away from that person and you get better, that person is making you sick. My first partner did that to me. I was in a relationship with someone that made me physically ill, made me physically sick because of how toxic they were. Guess what? Eliminated the partner, eliminated my illness. For real, for real. Most people stay in relationships that they don't need to stay in. Why? Guilt? It's because you motherfuckers are so codependent. You're so codependent. Why are you so codependent? Why can't you stand up for yourselves? Don't be a doormat. My God. See, here's the problem. The problem is that most people that practice the occult and practice witchcraft have got some level of mental and behavioral health problems, and they're codependent. Because half of them are empaths. You ever wonder why there's so crazy people in the occult? That. Because of that. Because for some reason, crazy people think that magic is going to fix them until they realize, shit, magic is not fixing anything. It's only making me worse. And here's the other thing. Here's the other fuck shit thing. People think by practicing yoga and getting into a spiritual practice, practicing Zen meditation, getting involved in meditation is somehow going to fix them. It doesn't. It makes you worse. Spirituality is going to be tough for someone who has not gotten control over their mental and behavioral health problems, or their alcohol and drug and substance abuse problems. Hey, Shadow Weaver. That's good. You needed that spiritual awakening. Hey, Jackie. I'm just talking shit. I'm just talking shit like I always talk shit. Over here talking shit. Oh, did you have a come to Jesus moment? With all the shit that I talk, how much do you hear me talking about other people on this app? By name. I know I act catty sometimes and I throw out certain names of people. But how often do you ever see me in a live sitting around talking about other people on this app and what they're doing? I need like a yes or a no from everybody. How often do you see me? Do you see me talking shit about other people on this app? Making videos about other people and what the fuck they do on this app? I don't have any reason to talk about anybody on this app. Because what other people do does not affect me. Unless they directly want to come and attack me. I will correct misinformation sometimes. Yes, every now and then I will stitch a video and I will say something as a correction, whether people listen or not. But there's some stuff I just can't let go of. Yeah, I'm talking about like gossip and drama. Do I believe magic or earth calls people? I don't really understand the nature of that question. Can you clarify? Well, let me tell you what you can trust about me. I'm not going to lie to you. That's the one thing you're never going to get, is me lying to you. If I'm telling you whatever I'm telling you, it's because I honestly believe that's the way it is, truthfully. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I will correct my attitude, behavior, and my philosophy on something if someone can prove it to me. But I'm not going to sit over here and argue with somebody that believes the world is flat. I'm not going to sit over here and argue with somebody who doesn't believe the Holocaust happened. I'm not going to sit over here and argue with somebody about stuff that's scientifically and historical fact. The people that usually don't like me are the people that don't like science and don't like history and don't like reading. Oh, let me plug in my phone because this thing's going to die on me. If you're here, you're meant to be here. It's a decision you made before you incarnated. In my tradition, we believe that we make these choices. You can always count on me being honest with you. Like brutally honest. That's why people get private readings with me. They don't like, sometimes people don't book readings with me in live because they know that if something comes up, I'm going to tell them about it. And most people don't like being told that their problems are like at least 50% their fault. People forget that when you get into a relationship, 50% of that relationship is you. And if you're sticking around in a relationship with a guy that's a drunk, or a guy that's using drugs, or a guy that can't get his act together, or a guy that is abusive or speaks abusively to you, or is not supportive of your spiritual path, or is trying to hold you down or keep you in the kitchen, or someone who's narcissistic, okay? Or you're in a sexless marriage, you're not getting your nut, that's you. That's a you problem. That's a you sticking around for it problem. That has nothing to do with them. And people don't like that. I'm like, why are you sticking around for that? So, I mean, you know, people come to me women come to me trying to find out what they can do to fix their relationship. And I say, you need to leave. Somebody got a reading from me yesterday on live. And they said something like they've been screwing around with this guy for a year, on again, off again, haven't talked to him for a month, wants to know what's going to happen with the relationship. Said you need to fucking move on because this person's never going to be your partner. Because if a man wants to be your partner, you will know it. He will be there for it. If you're a woman and you meet a man who is interested in having a relationship, potentially getting married, or being in a long-term relationship and having children, you will know it from the very beginning, okay? Because men make those kinds of statements at the beginning of relationships that make it clear about what they want. Men don't have a problem asking for what they want, whereas women have a big problem asking for what you want. So the more you try to hide who you really are, the bigger the problem is going to be later. Women need to learn that when you meet somebody, that you need to be very verbal, okay? You need to be very clear about what it is that you want in a relationship, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. You need to set a bar or a standard. And I guarantee you, if you set a bar and a standard, when you walk into a relationship, the people that don't fit that standard will walk away. You'll never hear from them again. And then you won't have wasted 3 months of your life or 6 months of your life. So be whoever it is that you are. Show the person that you're interested in who you are. Don't be afraid to be who you are. Don't hide, okay? Don't hide under a t-shirt, okay? You know, when it's time to get busy, take all the clothes off with the lights on. Let them see your body. And if they're not interested in your body type, then fuck them. Find somebody who is. Don't be shy. Don't hold back. Don't try to be something you're not, okay? Don't do those selfies that women do where they take the selfie like up here where, you know, they're trying to hide the rolls, they're trying to hold the extra weight, or they're trying to hide their body shape. I tell you what, I got on a dating app. I've been on several dating apps back in the day when I was like trying to find a female. Oh my God. And women post the most ridiculous pictures of themselves on dating apps. And men can look at you and know 100% whether or not you're desperate and an easy fuck. Men know 100% when they're looking at your picture on, I was going to say Grindr. That's the gay app. The other one, Tinder. Not Grindr, Tinder. Men know when they're looking through Tinder, they automatically know which women are real desperate and ready to jump in the sack and need some of that. And and if you are portraying yourself like that, then that's what you're going to get. You are going to get whatever you put out there. Wait a minute, hold on. Let me tell you, when I was scrolling through, what's it called again? Tinder? The amount of women that are holding alcohol in their picture is ridiculous. 50% of the women, you'll see them at a party, and they'll be wearing their little party dress, and they'll be like, and they'll have like a beer in their hand or a glass of wine in their hand. I'm like, why do women always have to post pictures with alcohol in their hand? Because women unconsciously know if I have alcohol in my hand, it's going to say, I'm a fun girl. I'm a fun girl. I like to party. I like to drink. I'm down for it. I'm here for it. And they think that men will unconsciously be more interested with women holding alcohol in their hand than not. And then the amount of pictures of women who have got their tits shoved up into their ears and pressed together with cleavage that looks like the Grand Canyon. I'm not interested in all that. If you're putting those kinds of pictures out on Tinder, I am not interested in you. I can be funny. Sometimes I can be funny. But for real, like, I don't understand what it is, what women think men want. But the thing is about men is that if you find a man that's really interested in you, he's going to be honest with you up front about what he wants. And so I feel like everyone should be honest about what they want. This is where lost souls come to be awakened, is my live. This is the place lost souls show up when they need help. They show, eventually, no matter how much people dislike people like me, people with my mouth, eventually people will end up getting readings from me. I don't care how much they don't like me. Eventually, if they live long enough to actually realize that their life needs to turn around, they will end up in front of a spiritualist like me that's going to be honest with them. Look, let me tell you, but here's the thing. Let me say something. I've been friends with many a stripper. Okay, because I was a stripper too. I've been a friend with many a stripper. And just because you hold a glass of alcohol in your hand, or because you get your boobs done, or because you have, you wear, or you get on a pole and you swing around it, or you take your clothes off in front of men and make money off of them, has nothing to do with your self-worth, has absolutely nothing to do with your ability to navigate communication. Those are two different things. Some of the smartest, most intelligent, most compassionate, down-to-earth people you'll ever meet are in the corn industry and in stripper world, because they know what is up. So being somebody that shows your body or expresses yourself in any kind of way has absolutely nothing to do with your ability to communicate your feelings and your thoughts. Okay, that is an emotional maturity. No. I can see the insecurity in women's faces and pictures if I'm scrolling on Tinder. I can see women that are trying too hard, or they're trying to attract a man by doing extra. It's the extra stuff that's unnecessary. And what this whole conversation started out by saying, ask for what you want. Ask for what you want. If you want a relationship with a particular kind of let me give you guys an exercise to do, okay? If you're out there looking for somebody, take a piece of paper, draw a line down that piece of paper, and on the right-hand side, I want you to write down all the qualities in a man that you want. I want you to write down the perfect man. Whatever the perfect man is for you, I want a man that's tall, dark, and handsome. I want a man that makes over $100K a year. I want a man that acts like a gentleman. I want a guy with an 8.5 thick dick. So write down everything. I want visible abdominal muscles when he's fucking. Write down what it is that you want. Okay? Write down everything that you want in a person. And then on the other side of the paper, write down all the things that you don't want. And have a very clear idea in your head of what it is that you're looking for when you're going out. I'm serious. I'm being honest with you. Write down exactly what you want in a relationship with a real man. Write down all of the things that you do not want and all the red flags and warning signs that you're going to walk away from if you come into contact. And you can't compromise that. I am not going to date somebody that does drugs. I am not going to date somebody that has to have a glass of alcohol in their hand when we're in public or at a party or at a bar or at a concert, okay? I am not going to deal with a man that doesn't state from the beginning of the relationship that they're interested in the long term. You got to write those things down. But society does that to women. I feel bad for women. I really do. I really feel bad for women because you're so misled and misguided. Because I can't imagine what it's like growing up looking at all these beauty magazines, being told you have to have your lips have to look this way, that your eyes have to look this way, your hair has to look this way. Oh no, that's not what we're wearing this month. We're wearing this because this is what's in. This is not what's in. I don't understand. I don't understand how women can deal with that. It's incredibly unhealthy, and I think that what I really, really love is I love body positivity. I love the diversity you see when you go in malls now and you see plus-size women or full-figured women, and you see that there's more diversity in clothes, there's more diversity, even though I know it's not enough. Now, as a man walking around in Target, I can say, oh, look at that. Now we've got, more ethnicities and more body types in advertising. That's good. Because visibility and exposure and representation is important in media and magazine and television. These things are important. No, it's thinking that you need to behave and act a certain way to be liked. That's what it is. Thinking that you have to behave and act a certain way in order to be liked or to be valued. And let me tell you something else. Let me tell you something else. Are you ready for this? If you walk into a room feeling confident about yourself, this is advice to women. I'm giving advice to women today. If you are a woman and you're looking to attract a mate, what you need to do is you need to walk down the street with confidence. You need to feel good about yourself. You need to be comfortable with yourself and comfortable around other people, because men will automatically see this person is someone that has self-worth. This is somebody that's comfortable. This is someone that can have a conversation. This is someone that I don't have to feel pressed around. And I don't care what you look like if you're a female or what your size is, okay? I don't care what your size is, and I don't care what you think you look like or how much you think society doesn't put you into the standard of what is and is not attractive. Confidence is sexy. Confidence is attractive, and you can snag a 10. You can snag a dude that's a 10, okay? Because men are not always interested in what someone looks like. I am not someone who is interested in just the way someone looks. I'm sapiosexual. I'm someone that gets very, very turned on by intelligence, by someone who can present, who can talk and have a conversation, that can sit and talk about religion, philosophy, that can talk about science. That's the kind of person that I want to be in a relationship with. I'm not interested in someone who just looks cute. So you need to be confident in yourself. You need to feel good about yourself, and you need to decide what it is that you want out of life, and then you need to not settle for anything less. That's it. And guess what? You might not find it. You need to go ahead and say to yourself, okay, I know exactly what I want, but I might not get it. I know what I want, might not get it, and I'll be okay with that. And there's nothing wrong with being alone. There's nothing wrong with being alone. Now, there are guys that are really super shallow, and that's a lot of them. They're really shallow, and they just want a piece, okay? They want something to hang off their arm. They want a gold Rolex on their left arm, and they want to have, a female that looks a particular kind of way and behaves a particular kind of way. But usually the men that are like that are looking for that kind of female, they're attracting females that are basically looking for a guy that's going to be that. Powerful, rich, aggressive, misogynistic, whatever. Yeah, because those men know exactly what they want and they don't compromise their standards. Because men don't have any problem walking away from a situation that they don't like. Women, total opposite. Women will stay in a relationship for 30 years and be miserable, and I don't understand it. And I wish women could be more like men in that way. And here's the... Oh man, don't get me started on feminism, okay? Because then they'll cancel me and I'll never come back. That's also a problem. It's not all a problem, but some of it is. There are men that stay. Yes, absolutely. There are men that stay. Absolutely, 100%. That, Crystal. Well, here's the thing. Let me go ahead and say this, because I heard this feminist the other day on YouTube talking about the problem with men, okay? And her theory on men was 100% wrong and 100% wouldn't work 100% of the time. Let me tell you something. The feminist ideal is that if we make men more like women, then we'll be able to subdue them. If we make men behave more like women, if we soften them in some kind of way, or we try to get men to think like women do, then all of a sudden men are going to be like better in some kind of way. Absolutely wrong. False. Wrong. Going down the wrong path. Never going to happen. Okay? You can't try to force a man to think like a female. It will not work. Our brains do not work the same way. Men need different things. Men need to be taught what it means to be a good man by other good men. Men need male role models. They don't need female role models. Period. Men need other men to learn what it means to be a man, to be responsible, to be able to provide for your family, to be able to be in a relationship, to be able to manage conflict in order to be a leader, okay? But when you're trying to effeminize men, especially men that are not effeminate, okay? They're just straight up men that are, heteronormative men that are trying to live their best life. When you're trying to take those men and trying to force them to think like a female, that will always backfire on you. Men and women are different, and they need to be appreciated for their differences. And I don't mean gender role. I don't mean like he works and she stays home and cleans the kitchen. That's not what I meant, okay? Because a woman can get up every single morning and put on a 3-piece suit and go to work and be a lawyer, a district attorney, and the husband can stay home and take care of the kids and cook and clean, okay? So, I'm not talking about like who supports who. I'm not talking about finances. I'm not talking about jobs. I'm not talking about power structure. I'm talking about in relationships, intimate, personal, romantic relationships. Women can't walk into a relationship thinking, if I can get this guy to think more like a woman, this is going to work. It's not going to happen. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you don't like what I said, then that's fine. Go stitch it, go make a video about it and call me a misogynist. So that's where that stuff comes from. People say I'm a misogynist. I'm not. I'm all about women. I support women 100%. I am a woman lover, not a woman hater. I love women, and I support women. I will always defend women. I am not a misogynist, but I'm here to tell you that some of these feminist views about how men are supposed to be or act are wrong, and they're setting a very different expectation than what should be set. Yes, men need love. Men need love. They need love. And guess what else they need? They need to be touched, because men equate sex with love. Women can separate it. Women can separate love from sex. Yes, Behavin', 100%. We're talking about relationships. We're just talking about relationships. And what I just said is true. Women can separate love and sex from one another. Men don't. And women might not understand that, but it's true. Because we feel if you're touching us, if you're caressing us, if you're actively, like, if you want to be intimate with us, we feel like we're being loved. Because we equate physical interaction with sex, and love is the same for men. It's not for women, but it is for men. That's why it's very important to have a healthy sex life with your partner. It's just the way we are. It is just the way we are. It is just the way our brain functions, okay? So what I'm trying to say is, if you're in a romantic relationship with someone, you should be fucking. If you're in a romantic, erotic relationship with someone, you should be having sex. And if there's no sex, that means there's not a romantic relationship, because that's why someone dates you and not somebody else. The reason why I decided to date you is because I decided you were the only person that I was going to screw. But don't get into a relationship with me and then use sex as a weapon towards me, or not fuck me. That's not a relationship. That's not a romantic relationship. So that's why the sex has to work. That's why if you're a woman, you need to find a man that is compatible with you in that way. Listen to what I'm saying. That's another way women devalue themselves. Another way women devalue themselves is they meet some guy, he makes money, he might look good on a piece of paper, but he sucks in the bedroom and that thing ain't satisfying. And you're like, oh, well, he makes a lot of money, he would make a great father figure, my mother likes him, this is somebody who... we have nice conversations, we're both Christians, whatever it is that you guys use to rationalize getting into a relationship with someone that is not good at intimacy. It's not just, yes, men can be trained. I'm not going to lie. Men can learn. Men can learn. Women can teach men how to satisfy them. 100%. Women can teach men what it is that they like to do in order to be romantic. But you guys have to have that. Absolutely, Amma, 100%. You are either attracted to this person and want to have sex with them, or you don't. Boom. That's it. 100%. So if you're going to get into a romantic relationship with someone, you better get into a relationship with someone that you want to actually do the dirty with. Don't get into a relationship with someone that you don't want to have sex with, because as soon as you stop having sex with him, he's going to go find it somewhere else. Or he's going to feel like you don't love him because you don't want to be intimate with him. But then you're over here like not, you need to be directing traffic. Okay, this is my clitoris, this is my G-spot. I want you to hit this, and I want you to do that. I want you to put your tongue there, I want there, and I want the finger there, and I want this here, and I want, and I like it in this position. And that, if you have to, sometimes you have to tell men these things. And if you get into a relationship, or you walk into an erotic relationship with a man, and you start saying, I need you to do certain things in order for me to get my nut, and he doesn't want to do it, that's not someone who's compatible with you. That's not someone that needs to be your boyfriend or your husband. Because the reason you chose this person to be your boyfriend, or the reason you chose this person to be your husband, is because you didn't want to fuck somebody else. God damn. I can't believe I have to say these things. But that's because the bullshit that people read in magazines is 100% wrong. 100% wrong. Whenever I see a magazine, like a glamour magazine, it says what he wants in bed, what he wants you to do. You don't know that. You don't know what he wants. And you don't know what you're dealing with when you're dealing with men. 1 in 4 girls before the age of 18 will be sexually assaulted. And 1 in 6 boys walking around on the street before the age of 18 will have been assaulted. So that means you know men who have been raped, or you know men who are the victims of sexual molestation as children. But you would never know it because men never talk about it. So if you've ever met a guy that you really, really liked and you had a really nice intimate moment, you thought, oh my God, this is the guy for me, and then he bolts on you and you never hear from him again, he ghosts on you and you never hear from him again, that's a telltale sign that that person has issues with intimacy. That could be someone who suffered from that kind of abuse or suffered from that kind of trauma. So women don't take these things into account. You just don't think about them because you don't think about those things. But when I'm saying, 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys, that's a very, very high number of people walking around on the street dealing with that kind of trauma. And then bisexual men, because men have a very broad spectrum of sexual orientation. It's not just gay, straight, and bisexual. It doesn't work that way, okay? Then when you have men who are bisexual, or maybe they're bi-curious, or they're straight, but they also like incorporating some other kind of male energy into the relationship, it's been proven that something like 85% of women find bisexual men to be unattractive or refuse to date them. There was a study that was done, and they asked a lot of women, would you ever date a bisexual man? Something like 85% or 87% of the women said they absolutely would not date a bisexual man. So men will never talk about their bisexuality because they know if they talk about their bisexuality, they're automatically not going to attract the kind of women that they want, that are going to have their babies, that they're going to be married to. Maybe we're starting to live in a different age. Maybe we're starting to live in a different time. But you tell me the last time you saw a bisexual man as the lead in any movie or in any TV drama or in any TV comedy with a guy that's healthy, that has a great personality, that dates men and women. Where's that show? Where's that show? Huh? Where's that one at? Where's that movie at? Where's my movie? Name me one movie with a positive bisexual character in it that's male, not female. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the title. If there's a bisexual male in a movie, whether it's a gay movie or a straight movie, they're usually a shit show, and they're usually looked at in a bad light. Dead Ringers, really? Never heard of it. He's got it all worked out. Well, good for him. Fortunately enough, the women that I've dated have always been open-minded and never cared about my sexual orientation. The women that I've dated have been women who I think preferred bisexual men. Okay, hold on. I gotta write these movies down. Hold on. I'm gonna get my pen and paper because you're spouting off these movies. Now I gotta write it down. Hold on. Now, I'm talking about healthy, positive bisexual men, right? Dead Ringers. I'm going to go on a movie fest to see these movies that you're talking about. Beautiful Creatures. Tell you what, any woman that's not willing to date a bisexual man hasn't really had the opportunity to see a different side of men. Wolf of Wall Street. Lolita. Camp. I'm tired, y'all. I could go back to sleep now. Last Tango in Paris. Have you guys ever seen the movie? I really love this movie. Ladies and gentlemen, you know all the movies. But if you lied to me, I'm going to tell you next time I see you. I'm so happy for you, Summer. You earned each other. Sense and Sensibility, bisexual man and Sense and Sensibility. I never saw that when I saw the Emma Thompson movie. Midnight Express. What are my thoughts on cultural appropriation? I have a lot of thoughts about that. I think people misunderstand what cultural appropriation is. I love Alan Rickman. East of Eden. That's Rock Hudson and James Dean, right? So you won't know whether or not someone is culturally appropriating something or not until you understand what you're looking at in their practice. Does that make sense? Like, as an example, you might see me doing a working, okay? And you might say, it looks like what he's doing is hoodoo. And I know that hoodoo is closed because that is an African American magical practice. And what right does this guy over here have practicing that thing? Well, you don't understand. I'm practicing palo. It comes from the same root, but it's a different practice. It looks similar, but it doesn't mean that I'm practicing the same way a hoodoo person practices. When a hoodoo person practices hoodoo, they're doing it a specific way. When I'm practicing palo, or my spiritualism, my creolized spiritualism, I'm doing it my way. We all use candles. We all use herbs. We all use colognes. We're all calling on ancestors, but it depends on the ancestors you're calling on, okay? When I practice magic, I'm calling on my ancestral spirits. And if you don't have those ancestors, then, you can't pull those spirits. So a lot of it has to do with ancestry and showing respect for other people's practices. Now, there are some practices that are African that 100% will allow white people to be a part of it. Even if you're as white as a slice of bread with mayonnaise all over it, if you're invited by the Orishas into the Ifa tradition, you will be initiated. If the Loa come for you and they want you initiated in voodoo, they will do that. So there's a difference between religions that people join and practices that are ethnically closed. People need to understand the difference between ethnically closed practices and religions that come from particular cultures that you join. Yeah, I understand, TJ. I get that, the Catholic folk magic stuff. But the thing is that hoodoo is not Catholic, though. Hoodoo is not a Catholic thing. Hoodoo is a Protestant thing. So, if you're working with Catholic saints and stuff like that, you're working a Creole style of magic. It's not hoodoo. You see what I'm saying? So if you buy a book on hoodoo, and it's talking about Catholic magic, then that is not hoodoo. because hoodoo was practiced by African American slaves in the southern parts of the United States that practiced Protestant Christianity. They were members of Protestant Christianity, not Catholicism. If you're reading a book about conjure and it's talking about Catholic stuff, that's Creole. It comes from the Caribbean. It comes from Cuba, or it comes from the Dominican Republic, or it comes from Puerto Rico, or maybe it comes from Mexico. Freddie Mercury was a Zoroastrian. Oh yay, somebody bought a birth chart. I guess one of you thought birth charts were important enough. Yay. That's what I get to work on tonight. I love doing people's birth charts. I wish I could just do birth charts every day, all day. Is Janine still here? I love David Bowie. Is that you? Did you get a birth chart from me, Amma? Is that you? So let me tell you something. You mentioned something. You mentioned something in. I can't stop yawning. I'm so tired. Get a birth chart from me. Buy a birth chart from me. Go to my TikTok profile. Click on my link tree. Click on get a birth chart reading. You can either buy it through my Etsy or you can buy it through my website. I prefer you buy it through my website. I will calculate your birth chart and I will do the analysis on it and email it to you. You'll get a PDF and a Word document that is going to have your birth chart in writing for you to go back and read anytime you want for the rest of your life. It's worth it. It's 100% worth it. It'll teach you so much about yourself. I mean, it'll really show you the blueprint. It'll give you a blueprint to your personality. I don't understand what you mean good for 1 year. The birth chart is your life. It is your life path. It is why you incarnated. When someone calculates your birth chart, what they're doing is they're looking at all of the energies that were playing with one another in the universe at the moment that you took your first breath. At the moment of your first breath, okay, when your soul entered your body, all of the stuff that was going on in the universe at that moment is going to affect you because we're all made of stars and energy. So being able to look at your placements is going to help you understand the energetic pattern and the karmic patterns in your life. Your solar return is your birthday. It has to be the time of birth, the birth date, and the location of birth. Jeanette, I don't think you understand the concept of a birth chart. Your birth chart is you. It's your blueprint. It's what you come into this world and boom, that's what you got. If you're looking for predictive astrology, that's something separate. I'm learning numerology. What a birth chart is going to show you is what are the challenges you're going to face in your life. What are the reoccurring themes in your personality, the good aspects and the negative aspects you're going to have to work on throughout your life journey. It's going to tell you why you reincarnated, what your purpose is in this life, What are the reoccurring themes that are going to come back over and over and over again in your life? Maybe not on a yearly basis, but throughout your entire life. That's what a birth chart is going to show you. And that's very, very helpful if you're living a life and you're like, God damn, I've been married and divorced 3 times. Why can't I maintain a relationship? What is it about me that doesn't have the ability to maintain a relationship? If you want your birth chart read, come to me. Get your birth chart read by me. Because how you calculate a birth chart also matters. Tropical astrology, which is the kind of astrology everybody does in the West, is based on the seasons. It's not based on where the planets actually are astronomically correct in the sky. So when you get your birth chart interpreted by me, it's going to be based on where the planets actually were in the heavens at the moment of your birth. Because your signs can flip. Your planets can jump houses when you compare your tropical to your sidereal. I mean, entire shifts in your chart can happen when you calculate it with sidereal calculations. So your rising sign can change. All of your placements can change depending on, where they're landing on your birth chart. Because there's something called an ayanamsha, and an ayanamsha is the way the birth chart is calculated. And my ayanamsha, I calculate everything from the galactic center. I calculate off the galactic center. So it's a very, very specific type of thing that I do. And so far, I haven't had anybody come back and say that was 100% wrong. Matter of fact, most people come back and say, wow, there's a lot more stuff that resonates with me in your chart than my tropical chart. And it's because tropical astrology is not astronomically correct. That's why. All right, everybody, it's 4 p.m. and it's time for me to go eat some dinner. Maybe I'll come back later, maybe I won't. But I'm going to go ahead and say, have a great rest of the night. Astrology is 100% incorporated into the tarot, and it's very complicated, and you can spend your entire life just studying tarot as a magical system and as a spiritual system, and you'll never see the end of it. All right, talk to you later, guys. Peace.